Yeah. Yep, I am.
Welcome to this edition of the Wonderbury Podcast.
I'm Brian.
I'm Dave.
You can find us online at wonderbury.com.
And I am D. Wonderly on Twitter.
Or I'm Brian Keysbury, anywhere the internet can be found.
You can leave us a comment on our website or the plethora of social media stuff that we happen to be attached to.
Anywhere.
Check for the link in the description. And I actually did start tweeting today. Again, finally.
Holy moly.
I do check it all the time, but I don't always post. And I'm going to start posting more random musing thoughts that I have.
Cool.
So we'll see how that works out.
I have spurts where I go on social media sprees.
Yeah, I kind of have different social medias for different aspects of my life, I guess.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of, my Google Plus is one thing which I haven't done in a very long time. Facebook is something totally different. And now I'm trying to create the part of me that will post on Twitter and try to separate that a little bit from the G Plus Ingress open source, which I really don't do a whole lot of anymore. And the Facebook, which is kind of either my very personal views on things or me just wanting to start some sort of a Facebook drama where I'll post something somewhat controversial, and it's like throwing a grenade in a room and walking away. It's way too much fun.
I don't Facebook very often ever.
Yeah, I found that Facebook tends to be one of my go-tos. And then Reddit, I kind of am all over the place on Reddit.
Oh yeah, me too. I've been Redditing a lot. Mostly because I play Minecraft and I stick in the Minecraft subreddits.
Even my subreddits are all over the place.
Yeah.
Say what?
I was gonna say Reddit's amazing for that. Like the sheer amount of subreddits. Like I'm in subreddits for about any hobby I can think of. I'm in a subreddit for my car, so I can go in and talk about my specific car. A couple different Minecraft ones. I'm in a subreddit for kites.
Nice.
I can go in and talk about kite things with other kite nerds. Which I have gotten nowhere. Whole summer. Well, it was destroyed in the wreck, so I didn't have to fly it one more time, and I got it stuck in a tree. So I think that's the end of that hobby. At least for the year. Maybe next year I'll try again.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of the way mine goes. It's all over. I've obviously got a lot of stuff for web development stuff and JavaScript and programming stuff. But then I have a lot of stuff on video, filmmaking, editing, 360 stuff. And then just some of the most random, weird, off-the-wall things, like WTF Garage Sale, which is just people that find the weirdest, most off-the-wall, bonkers things at thrift shops and garage sales and just post pictures of them. Nice. And it's some of the most beautifully horrifying things you'll ever see in your life.
One of my favorites is, Of Course That's a Thing.
Yeah, of course that's a thing's on there. Nature is Metal is always kind of cool.
That one's pretty rad.
Yeah, that's just nature screwing up nature pretty badly. It's pretty hilarious. If you like that sort of thing, it is.
Yeah. So there's a lot of aquarium subreddits too. So now that you've got the FIVA,
Yeah, I've already tallied how much I've spent in the last month on that damn thing, but it doesn't really count because I bought everything for setup too. So
Yeah. Dude, the
but
initial setup can be hard.
I think I've got even with the fish that I have in there, and then like last night I checked my water stuff again. I found out I had scarily high ammonia levels. So I bought some
Yeah.
of that ammonia detox stuff real fast before I could start cycling my water out. But I think I've got 350 into it already.
Oh, that's not bad.
So not a terrible amount. I mean, I bought it's a small tank. It's a 10-gallon tank. I bought it and all the stuff on sale. I'm not 100% sure my filter is a very good one, but we'll give this a shot for a little bit, and if I have to upgrade my filter, I will.
That seemed like that one would have been okay for the size of the tank, as long as you don't get too much going on.
Yeah, I think I just have to rinse something out a little bit more. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
I've got a perpetual cloudy water issue, and I'm always struggling to keep my pH levels down. And now I have the ammonia thing, and I'm just like, holy crap.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that I will finally get it the way I want to and the way it needs to be. And once I get it there, I think maintaining it'll be a lot easier. It's just getting it to that point. It's
Yeah.
new hobby and slightly frustrating.
Yeah. And once you get the hang of getting things going, it definitely does get easier. I have an app called Aquarium Mate.
Yeah.
So I can track like all my levels for everything in my tanks, and
Oh, nice.
I have different scheduled reminders set up in the app, so I know tomorrow I have to take my filter apart and give it a clean. So
all right.
Can
you send me a link to
changes.
That?
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's pretty the random custom things I do for my hobbies.
Well, I kind of feel you on that one. Hobbies are too much fun for me. I don't know.
Right.
A lot of my hobby stuff no one sees any of it except for me, so it's kind of one of those weird things for me. Like a lot of my 360 filming, I probably have 200 or 300 hours of footage on my computer somewhere, and none of it will ever be seen by anyone but me because all I do is just manipulate and play with the video. I just learn techniques for stuff for editing for 360 stuff.
I have that with recorded audio too.
Yeah.
I when I lived with my parents, I converted my like attic space bedroom into a full studio.
Oh, nice.
I had everything all mic'd up and set up, and I could just turn on what microphones I wanted to use, or turn on what instruments were plugged in, and just hit record and start playing whatever. I had hundreds of hours of just stuff recorded, like sometimes just pure nonsense, and you guys will never hear a bit of it.
Yeah, most of my 360 stuff will never see the light of day off of my hard drive.
Yep.
Most of it probably won't last on my hard drive till the end of the year. But it's the random weird stuff, and I just bought a frickin' 6.5-foot monopole with a little tripod adapter for the bottom of it, just to stick my 360 camera on, which, surprisingly enough, my new rig that I have set up in here is on top of that as well. But, there was no other reason to get that except for my 360 camera, because I got sick and tired of seeing the handle of a tripod sticking out from the bottom side of my 360 videos.
Yeah.
So what do? You go out and you buy a monopod or a monopod. Then it just happened to come with a nice little tripod base for it that I could stick it on, and hey, it works.
Yep.
Sits about 6.5 to 7 feet up off the ground, and that's perfect spot for a 360 camera, especially if you're in a crowd or something.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm excited. I'm gonna have to come back more often. We can go play with that some more.
Oh yeah. Oh, and dude, last week was so much fun. Doing the podcast there at the temple and stuff.
Yeah.
I had a blast finally being in there with you.
Right?
That
Man.
that was a lot of fun, and I think it was a really good podcast too. A really good episode.
It was. I was a little sad after trying to edit it. The hum from the lights was
Outside
so
of
loud.
huh?
The hum from the lights was so loud that it
Oh
killed some
yeah,
of the
I'll bet
audio
that.
quality.
Bet it was. Next time we do it, we'll have to bring in our own lights, and we'll just shut off all the fluorescent lights in there and just run off of our own lights.
Yeah, I can haul mine in. I got a big travel bag for it.
I got my lights I can bring, and then I have probably a half a dozen clamp lights around the temple somewhere that we can just set up an array.
You'll need a change of pants after you see my lights.
So what else do you do for fun when you're not working or recording something?
Well, I have a fish hobby. That's pretty out of hand.
Yeah.
Up to 4 tanks in my house. That can be time consuming on the weekends.
Oh, I'll bet.
Driving/racing. I haven't done in a while, but I've been considering doing some more of that. Mostly because I like trophies. It's another hobby is collecting trophies for things. So,
not trophies.
What's fun is my car is in the same class as Ford Mustangs and Chevy Camaros. So when I go do an SCCA race, I get put against them, and they're fast. They're fast cars, but they don't take off good, and they don't corner well.
Oh.
And what my car does is it takes off really, really well, and it corners, holy crap, extremely well. I have 4-wheel steering in my car, so
wow.
I can take a 90-degree turn at 55 miles an hour and stay stuck to the road. So I go in and destroy the class, because it feels awful, but I love screwing with the Mustang guys. I hate Mustangs, and I worked for Ford for quite a while.
And you dislike Mustangs?
Yeah. When I worked for them, I liked Mustangs, but that was because they broke down and I made money fixing them.
Ah, yeah.
So I was a big fan of Mustangs, but I didn't drive one. I was like, nah. I did have an Explorer with a Mustang engine in it. That was all-wheel drive. That thing was stupid fast.
Yeah, I'll bet.
It was awesome.
Yeah, I see too many of them in used car lots, and my rule of thumb is if I see a whole lot of a certain type of vehicle in used car lots, don't buy that vehicle. Because people want to get rid of them, and if there's a reason they want to get rid of them, you're not going to want to have it around for much longer either.
No, not car lots, junkyard. You want to look at junkyards. Car lots are acceptable because that's people upgrade cars. like they do
Yeah,
phones.
but
Like,
if you consistently see, for example, you go to 3 used car lots and you see 25 PT Cruisers, you have a feeling there's something wrong with the PT Cruiser that people don't like them.
well,
Aside from the looks,
yeah,
and
I was gonna
aside
say
from the
they're
fact that
ugly,
they're a
so I have
neon with a chassis.
no idea how they sold those things to begin with. Same as the Pontiac Vibe. That thing drives me crazy. Like how this thing's awful. It's like a bastardized go-kart with the wannabe wagon body.
Yeah.
What is going on here?
I finally figured out what the HHR reminds me of. It reminds me of like a 40s or 50s milk truck.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's the HHR, because I was like, it's not quite Hearst. It's too non-PT Cruiser to look like a Hearst. But then
Yeah.
I was watching some old TV show. I don't even remember which one it was, and some guy in a milkman driving his truck went by, and I was like, that's the HHR right there. It is so perfect.
Yeah. So when I was racing, um, I tried to use as much tech as I could because I knew that helped me as well. You know, like using there was an app called MyTracks, um, that an Android app, and you could it would track your driving. So it would
Yeah.
it would make a map of your path that you were driving on. Use the GPS to track your speed and the accelerometer to track your the G's. So
Yeah.
I was using that and to give myself a good view of how I was doing. Um, which now I have another specialty app for that actually I can plug into my car with a little Bluetooth adapter, and then I can track all the stats coming out of my car too. Um, but it's neat being able to like having the tech there that I I use for daily stuff anyways, and using it to make myself better at hobbies. And I do that a lot with everything. Like
Yeah.
like with the fish tanks, I've got smart plugs hooked up to my CO2 so it turns on at specific times for the day. I've got my lights are
I
well,
guess
they're
you would need the CO2
semi-smart.
if you're growing plants, though, wouldn't you?
Yeah,
Because you can't
mine
just
are.
infuse it with oxygen that doesn't do any good. You have to do it with CO2.
Yep. Um, yeah, and that makes a world of difference too. Um, and it helps with algae when you have everything balanced. So when you have a balance of the CO2, the fertilizers in the both in the substrate, like my sand, and like the nitrates from fish waste in the water. Like once there's a balance of that and your light, which is why I've got the lights that I have that have the 24-hour cycles. So it's a lot of aquarium lights like what you have. It's on and off, and
Yeah.
plants aren't used to that, and so people have to adjust how they do CO2 and how they do um like how they do their fertilizers for the lighting. Whereas when I've got my lighting set to be a natural day cycle, then I can just trickle everything else in slowly like it would be naturally. Like
Yeah.
you're gonna have like in nature you aren't gonna have a big dose of fertilizer at one point in the day. So I can just trickle things in slow and match a more natural cycle.
Yeah.
Um, but then I have smart objects hooked up to that, so I can do that more easily.
Yeah, I need to get better at the smart objects. I haven't really started buying a whole lot of smart objects yet. I've been, I guess, I got so used in the habit of sitting back to see which one would take off, And because there's such still fierce competition, I'm still kind of sitting back to find out which one's going to take off.
I, I don't think
And
it's. I
I'm not
don't.
sure it's going to be a winnable war like the Betamax VHS or the Blu-ray versus HD DVD. I
Yeah,
think
because
that,
anybody can do their own thing, and this is what I found out looking at the lights. Like, Philips has a hub that you have to get before you can get lights.
yeah,
Some of the Samsung stuff, they have their Smart Things hub, and you have to have that to control the different things for the Samsung products. But then, like with the LifeX bulbs and the Wemo plug, and like my Mr. Coffee maker, they're all they don't require a hub. They're direct connect to Wi-Fi, and then you use whatever
yeah. I
your
either IFTTT or Google Home or
yeah.
Alexa or whatever you're using.
Yeah, and so I have both IFTTT and Google Home, or
Yeah,
well, Google Assistant on my phone, and they're all linked together. So Google Assistant is connected to them separately from what IFTTT is. So Google Assistant can handle all the stuff that it handles normally, and then I use IFTTT for the customized things.
yeah.
Like with the lights, I have special commands, so um, I can say my hot word, which would be, the what's the word I'm thinking of? The thing that starts my oh dang it. I have to
Like
say
a
this,
like a
huh?
keyword or a toggle or whatever.
Yeah. I have to say the okay Google.
That was a
S-
dangerous call.
Stop that quick. So I say that and I can from there I can say turn on the family room lights.
Yeah,
And Google Assistant handles that command and says, okay, we're turning on the family room lights. And it knows because I've used Google Assistant to set up my rooms, and it knows that there's a LifeX bulb in the family room, and it turns that light on.
yeah.
Now I can also say that word and then say it's party time, or it's party lights, and it'll use IFTTT to go to it, and Google Assistant handles that, and then it triggers IFTTT and says, "Hey, Brian just said this to Google Assistant, but we need to talk to the LifeX app and actually turn on this specialty thing, which is for party time. It makes it cycle through different colors and then flashes with the amount of noise going on in the room, so it gives a crazy
Oh,
disco party."
cool. So
So
it'll
there's
pulse with whatever music or whatever the ambience is.
yeah, and so
Nice.
I'm trying to find. My plan now is I'm sticking to things that don't require a hub
Hmm.
because of that. So I can it I'll have
I
the
think,
direct connection with my own apps where I'm creating my own hub.
yeah. I think that's kind of the direction I'm leaning in is just getting stuff that'll connect up to my Wi-Fi that I don't have to worry about a hub. Because I was looking at hubs, and then I was looking at home built solutions with Raspberry Pis, and then I was
Uh,
realizing I really didn't want to have to do all this work.
yeah,
So
no,
getting something that I can just hook up to my Wi-Fi and I can walk away from and have full control of it, I kind of am beginning to lean and like that idea better.
look at the Wemo Maker.
The
That was
Wemo
something.
Maker, okay?
Um, it's a simple device that you can connect to anything electrically, and
Awesome.
it connects to Wi-Fi, so you can. One of the things I saw somebody do was they had it wired into a garage door opener, like a
Yeah.
standard old Craftsman one, and they had it set up so it was getting a signal at each end. So when it was, there was a signal for it being open, then there was a signal for it being closed. so they could tell whether it was open or closed, and then they could send a command to have it open or closed depending on where it was.
Yeah, cycle it or whatever.
Yeah. Which now there's smart garage door openers anyways. So.
Yeah. There's pretty much, if you can think of it, someone's done an IoT for it. So,
yeah.
I mean, that's just kind of where we're living right now, is IoT is coming in everywhere, which is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of, did you hear about the Equifax data breach this week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Did you hear about the 3 Equifax executives that are probably going to end up getting fried?
Yep.
Day before they made the announcement, they freaking the 3 of them sold about $2.5 million worth of shares.
Yep.
Including the CFO, the chief of internet, the IT chief, and another VP. And they claimed, we didn't know about the breach that Equifax had discovered a little more than a month and a half ago.
Jeez.
Yeah. I have a feeling they're going to get burned pretty heavily on that one. It's just like, yeah, they've known about it for almost 6 weeks. And they're just now releasing it.
Huh.
And it's not like this is a company that you can decide whether or not you want them to have access to your stuff. This is one of the credit monitoring people.
Yeah.
Or the credit reporting, which means you don't have a choice other than to just not have credit. And then you still don't have a choice because your information will still be in there as not having any credit. So I don't know what's, apparently they're gearing up to be one of the largest class action lawsuits in the United States history. So
wow.
If you haven't done it already, do not sign up for the free monitoring system that they put you on, because part of the terms of service is that is waiving your rights to be a part of a class action lawsuit.
Huh. Good enough.
So don't use them for the credit monitoring. Go through someone else. I've been using Credit Karma for years. So
I think I got Equifax. I bought something at Home Depot on my debit card, and they got hacked, and then they they sent me a subscription to Equifax.
Yeah.
So never ending cycle. Just
I
have so much information out there in the wild. I don't even care anymore.
I have started using Tap to Pay for a lot of stuff, because then my actual cards and card numbers aren't being given to actual retailers.
Yeah.
And some people might shudder at the idea, but I trust Google a hell of a lot more than I trust Target.
Right? I've not had any troubles with Google.
No, Google I haven't. Yahoo just went through that huge data breach.
Yeah.
Was that last year?
It was funny because people complain about Google a lot, and they're like, "Oh, they work for the government," but they have never-ending lawsuits pending against them from all major government entities across the world.
Yep.
I'm like, yeah, that looks exactly like they're working for him.
Yeah, the amount of money that they spend on lawyers and litigation, man. If I was a new lawyer up and coming, I would go work for a tech company, because there is a never-ending shortage of money that you will end up making by doing that.
Yep. Especially
it Google. Is amazing.
They seem to have so many lawsuits going on all the time.
Speaking of Google, did you hear about the other Google buying a phone manufacturer rumor this week?
Wait, what?
It's being rumored that Google is looking into purchasing HTC.
Huh.
which means all further probably Google branded phones would be all from an in-home. But I don't know if they're doing it for the manufacturing side or if they're doing it like they did with Motorola Mobility, where they just wanted to strip all the patents out and then dump the actual computing side off to Lenovo like they did. Because Google bought Motorola Mobility 3 years ago. They pulled out all the patents. They pretty much it was longer than that. But they pulled all the patents out and then sold it to Lenovo.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if this move would be a move toward having hardware manufacturing stuff, or if it would be a move toward more patents. Because I know the Google Pixel and the Pixel XL were both HTC manufactured.
Yeah.
But the 2s are going to be LG manufactured, I think. Which the 5X was LG, the 5 was LG, and the 4 was LG.
Yeah.
For the Nexus lines. With the 6P being Hawaii, Highway, or however you say it.
Yeah, and then the 6 before that
and
was
then this
Motorola.
That was Motorola.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Nexus 6 Whale was from Motorola. But yeah, no, that came across my tech news filter this week, and I was like, holy cow, this might happen, this might not. And it gets like every 3 weeks. Every 3 weeks, there's a rumor about Sprint and T-Mobile merging, or one buying the other out. So who knows?
I always wanted to see Google team up more with Sony and do more stuff.
I would love to see a Google designed Sony phone.
Right?
Sony's got a lot of really good stuff going into it, but I don't know. I never got one. Joe had one for a while.
Yeah. Brian
but now
one.
he went from Sony back to Apple, so there's that.
I don't understand bouncing back and forth between ecosystems. That would drive me crazy.
To be honest, that's the only reason why I've never really tried an Apple device. I'm so invested into the Google ecosystem. And I know and I understand that almost 100% of the Google system now is all app-driven and app-based, and they all have Apple apps for them too. So,
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe one day if I don't like one of the next Pixels in the line, when I end up getting another Pixel, I might give Apple another shot. But Hill has an Apple for her, she's got an iPhone for her work phone, and I'm not impressed. I like the layout and I like the flow of Android better. It's just a personal preference thing.
Yeah, it's because we're tweakers. We like to fiddle with things and
yeah, I think that might be it.
Yeah, and you can't do that on Apple so much.
Yeah.
You can move your icons around.
Yeah, you can create folders.
Yeah.
They do have the pressure sensitive touch thing, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to about do it for us this week, Brian.
Okay.
Yeah. I hope, and this is coming from the bottom of my heart because this will release out on Sunday. I really hope everything works out down in the Florida and up the coast. And next week we will talk a little bit more about the hurricanes, both Harvey and Irma, as well as the upcoming Jose that seems to be building steam behind Irma. But we'll talk a little bit more about it then, and we'll talk more about donations and who you can give to and how you can help. Yeah. So just stay safe, get the heck out of there, and stay safe.
Yeah, come to Michigan. It's like that all the time here. So we're used to it.
The only difference is that we freeze 4 months of the year.
Yep. We're good.
But until next week, see you guys later.